Hello once again and welcome. Today we'll be exploring art. Isn't that wonderful and cheery? Everyone loves art. I'm talking about an art installation in the middle of a rural town in Canada. It's an art installation that's redefining creativity with the power to make people disappear and rewrite reality.
Whoa, that's quite an opening. You've got my attention. What exactly are we talking about here?
We're talking about SCP-4784, a deadly art piece hidden away in rural Ontario, Canada. It looks like a real TV, but it's actually a perfect replica, immune to weather, impossible to damage, and completely baffling to scientists. And get this, it's surrounded by artificial roses with thorns as sharp as razor wire. So this takes us to Tilford's Folly. Back in 1886, a guy was murdered there, shot with a shotgun. They actually caught the killer, held a trial, even hanged the guy.
So pretty open and shut case, right?
Well, that's where it gets weird. There's absolutely no record of who the murderer was. It's like he just vanished, like completely wiped from history. That's one of the first signs that something strange is going on at Tilford's Folly. It's this total blank spot in the historical record, and thankfully, we have some sources to help us understand what might have happened. One is this album by Luther Stark. He's a documentarian who is just obsessed with the unexplained. His photo album is like a window into the hidden world of the anomalous. So there's this one photo in the album that really caught the Foundation's eye. A photo of this weird art installation right there at Tilford's Folly. That's where the story takes a turn. You're probably thinking, what does a weird art installation have to do with a murder from the 1800s? That's a good question. The art piece, known as SCP-4784, looks like a regular old TV set. But this thing lures you in, and then, well, things go bad. It starts with this captivating display of images and sounds, almost hypnotic, that makes you want to get closer, like a moth to a flame, but with much higher stakes. It taps into your deepest instincts. And then, once you're close enough, a title card pops up on the screen. It just says Unwinding, and that's when the real show starts. This is what we call the primary sequence. So SCP-4784 starts showing images and videos from your life. But then it takes a dark turn. Imagine your happiest memories mixed with images of suffering and these vast cosmic events.
Like a psychological attack designed to break you down.
And the truly terrifying thing is, you start to fade away. Like literally. Over a few minutes, you become less substantial, less real, until, poof, gone, no trace. And that's the really scary part. There's never been a single case of someone coming back from the primary sequence. This art installation literally erases people from existence. It's as though they never were. To add to all the creepiness, there's this fake guest book at the site.
Part of the installation, I presume?
Yeah, just part of the art. And it lists the names of people who've, well, been victims of SCP-4784. One name in particular stands out, Anna Budarsky. She was an art student, and we think she was a member of Are We Cool Yet? So the Foundation found this message in the guest book, and we think it's from Anna herself.
What does it say?
It says, I didn't realize. I'm so sorry. I don't want to be cool. Goodbye.
Did she become a victim of her own creation? Was she trying to warn others? It adds a whole other layer of mystery to this, doesn't it?
It does. But all of this brings us back to the mystery of Tilford's Folly and that missing murderer.
Back to the beginning. Could there be a connection between the two?
Well, there's this expert in pataphysics, Dr. Michelle Wilkes, and she thinks there is. Pataphysics, the science of imaginary solutions. She has this interesting theory about what happened.
I'm intrigued.
She believes that Tilford's Folly might be the result of what she calls narrative backscatter caused by SCP 4784.
Narrative backscatter, eh? That's a new one. So, how do we even explain this theory?
Well, think of it this way. SCP 4784. It's like a weapon that not only erases people, but it also cleans up like any loose ends by reaching back in time and changing the past.
So, it's trying to keep the story straight, even if that means rewriting history.
Exactly. Dr. Wilkes is saying that this murderer from 1886 wasn't just forgotten, he was deliberately removed from history as a side effect of SCP 4784 being activated in the present. But we also have accounts from others who've come into contact with SCP 4784 and they actually managed to escape its effects.
Oh, interesting. So, what can they tell us about this art installation?
So, one of those who managed to get away from SCP 4784 was Agent Calvin Harris. He's actually the one who investigated the site for the Foundation, and he came face to face with this thing's hypnotic pull. His story is, let's just say, he's lucky to be alive. It gives us a good look into how this thing works. Then there's Felix Kipp. He was this local librarian who was obsessed with the history of Tilford's Folly. A real history buff. He'd spent years trying to piece together the area's past, all the weird events and stuff. Kipp's knowledge was really helpful for the Foundation. He told them all about the local legends.
He was the one who told the Foundation about the nameless murderer from 1886.
Right, the case where all records of the killer just vanished. Kipp also mentioned that almost nobody ever went to Tilford's Folly.
Really? No hikers? No nature enthusiasts? Nothing?
Nope. Practically deserted. But when the Foundation got there, they found that SCP 4784 was covered with a tarp. Someone had been there recently.
Makes you wonder if maybe SCP 4784 was already drawing people in even before the Foundation knew about it. And perhaps those people, they became part of the narrative backscatter themselves.
It suggests that the anomaly's influence might extend beyond those who directly interact with it. And, to make things even creepier, not long after talking to the Foundation, Felix Kipp died. It was officially ruled a household accident.
Household accident, huh? But it does make you wonder, was it really an accident? Or did something else happen? Did he get too close to the truth?
It's a possibility we can't ignore, especially given everything else we know about Tilford's Folly. If he was silenced, it means SCP 4784 isn't just erasing people from existence. It's also protecting itself by getting rid of anyone who knows too much.
That's a disturbing thought. It really paints a sinister picture of this art installation.
Now, we also need to talk about Ren Masterson, also known as Stakeshift. They're connected to this group called Gamers Against Weed. Yeah, it sounds kind of ridiculous, right? But they actually played a key role in alerting the Foundation about SCP 4784. You know, they might not fit the stereotypical image of like anomaly hunters, but Gamers Against Weed is actually pretty serious about what they do. They're like these digital detectives always scouring the internet for signs of the unusual and dangerous. Oh yeah, and they actually found Luther Stark's photo album. That's how they learned about SCP 4784. They recognized that this art installation could be dangerous, and they contacted the Foundation.
They took a big risk doing that. It shows real courage and a commitment to protecting others.
They even went through all this trouble to stay anonymous. They used a payphone and a pre-recorded message to contact the Foundation.
Smart move.
Well, it turns out they had a little ulterior motive. They wanted the Foundation to return their dead Kennedy's album.
So they weren't just motivated by altruism.
Well, they did help the Foundation discover SCP 4784, so I guess it's a win-win.
I suppose so. but it's a reminder that everyone involved in this world of anomalies, even those fighting against them, they have their own motivations.
Yeah, nobody's purely good or evil. It makes things more complicated, but it's also more realistic.
It definitely adds another layer to the story. So we've got this historical murder, a killer whose identity has been completely erased, a deadly art installation disguised as a TV, these shadowy organizations, people vanishing left and right. What does it all mean?
It's not just about SCP-4784 being dangerous. It's about the fact that it was created with a purpose. And that purpose is erasure. It really makes you think about the nature of art and its limits. And let's not forget about Anna, the developer. Her message in the guest book, it suggests regret, even horror at what she created.
Yeah, it adds this whole tragic dimension to the story. It shows that even the creators of these anomalies can become victims of their own power.
It's a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked ambition and not thinking about the consequences of your actions.
Definitely. But it all comes back to this concept of narrative backscatter. This idea that reality itself can be rewritten. And if it's true, it makes you wonder what other historical mysteries might be the result of similar forces. Are there other events, other people that have been erased from our collective memory? It's a question worth considering, and we'll keep exploring these ideas as we delve deeper into the mysteries of SCP-4784.
It makes you wonder, what is narrative backscatter really? Is it something the anomaly does on purpose, like a way of protecting itself?
Yeah, or is it just like a side effect of its power?
What if it's more than just erasing things, though?
What do you mean?
What if SCP-4784 is actually creating a new narrative? A narrative that benefits it somehow. Like, it's not just getting rid of inconsistencies, it's shaping the story to fit its own needs. And then there's the name Tilford's Folly. It's so appropriate, isn't it? A folly, a pointless endeavour, a mistake.
What if the name itself is a result of narrative backscatter?
You think the anomaly changed the name?
Maybe. It's like a little clue, a way for it to mock us, a subtle reminder of its power. So we've dug into this twisted story, and we've learned a lot. A lot of unsettling stuff. What's the big takeaway here?
It tells us that the world, maybe reality itself, may be more complicated than we realise. It's kind of humbling, isn't it? We think we're in control, but really, we're just playing a small part in something much bigger.
And though we might never fully understand the rules of the game, it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. We can't just accept the reality we're given. We have to question, investigate, keep searching for the truth, even if it's scary, even if it's dangerous.
I think that's a perfect note to end on. A reminder to our listeners that the world is full of mysteries, some wonderful, some terrifying, and many we may never fully understand. But that doesn't mean we should stop exploring. We just need to do it responsibly.
Well said, and maybe a gentle suggestion to be careful around any art installations you might stumble across in the wilderness.
Ha! Yes! Stick to museums, folks. They're much safer. Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, but maybe do it from a safe distance.
And remember, stay cool, but not too cool. You don't want to disappear on us.